back, fam, and today I'm doing a very highly requested video, which is a video about my homeschooling. Probably the second most highly requested video next to a nursery tour, which I promise is on the way. I'm just waiting for a few more things to do, a few more finishing touches decoration-wise to my room. So I promise that is coming very, very soon. But for now, I'm going to talk about my homeschooling experience and answer a lot of the questions I've been getting in the comments. I'll start by talking about how I made the decision that I would start homeschooling. So it was the summer before junior year, and I found out that I was pregnant with this one. And I knew that I didn't want to be pregnant and walking around the halls at high school. It's just not a really good environment, a lot of negativity. I just didn't really want to be around that during my pregnancy. I just want to focus on myself and my baby and just get my education, get out of there and not deal with all the drama that goes on. After I gave birth, I wanted to be with her. I didn't want my parents watching her or some daycare. I knew that I wanted to be there for her, and I didn't want anyone else watching her while I went to high school. So I decided to homeschool. I also wanted to graduate earlier, and I knew that doing homeschooling would enable me to do that. I was moving 6 weeks into the school year, so I had to decide if I wanted to do homeschooling at the beginning of the school year or wait until I moved. And I decided to go to high school for the first month of the junior year, and then when I moved, I would start my homeschooling. If you want to hear about how it was being pregnant while I was in high school, I have a video about that, a little story time about my experience at that 1 month that I was in high school. A lot of stuff went down, so yeah, go watch that video if you want. It'll be linked in the description. I was very nervous to start homeschooling because I had done a few online classes before in my old high school for my ASL class because there was no teacher, so we had to do online classes, and I absolutely hated it. It was the most boring thing. And I thought I would be super bored doing homeschooling. Plus, I wouldn't even have people around me to hang out with. At least the last time I did an online class, I had other people in the classroom. But I literally just had to sit there by myself and do an online class. But I thought, I'll do it anyways. It's what I have to do for my daughter. So I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Just the motivation, knowing that the faster I get this done, the faster I can graduate, really helped and didn't make it as dreadful to do some schoolwork. At the home screen of my homeschool website, there's a little loading bar saying how much longer you have till you graduate, and just looking at that every day and seeing it go up a little bit more makes me a lot more motivated to get work done every day. And of course, homeschooling isn't for everybody. I really enjoy it. It goes with my learning type very well. If you want to know what your learning type is, there's tons of quizzes online. There's just certain learning types that are good at homeschooling and some that aren't. Some people need a teacher right in front of them teaching them, and I just don't. I like figuring things out by myself. It'll have like a video explaining something, and then I'll have text explaining something, and then I'll have a step-by-step thing, and there's just a ton of different ways all mashed together, so you can kind of go in and decide, do I want to watch a video about it? Do I want to read about it? Do I want to learn the steps to do it? I just like that I get to decide how I want to learn a certain subject. The curriculum I use is Florida Virtual School, and if you live in Florida, it's completely free to do. But if you live anywhere else in the United States, it costs money. I'm not sure how much, but I really, really like this curriculum. It's worked very well with me. It's self-paced, and so yeah, if that's what you want to use, you can talk to your parents about maybe doing that. I recommend it, but of course it costs extra if you don't live in Florida. So basically how my school works is I'm not really in a grade right now. I just have this many classes I need to finish before I can graduate. You do 3 classes at a time. You could do 4, you could do 2. It doesn't really matter. There's no strict rules about it. They don't tell you you have to do a certain amount, but the recommended is 3 at a time. and I have, I think, something like 8 classes I have to do until I can graduate. So right now I'm doing 3. I might do 4 this summer once Landon is here and he can watch Coco while I do some schoolwork. But for now, I'm just doing 3 while I kind of get back into it, because I did take a short break while she was in the hospital and everything. So basically, once you finish a class, you move on to the next class and just go from there. I have all of my teachers' numbers in my contacts list. If I ever have a question about an assignment or anything, I just call them. A module is like a unit and or a chapter. I don't know, people say different stuff in different schools, but we say module in this curriculum. And basically, every module you have to do a phone call with your teacher and confirm that you're not just looking all the answers up online. Just answer questions right on the spot, and that's how they know you're not cheating. I also have 1 test per module, so I basically learn all the information, make the phone call to my teacher, and do the discussion about the unit, and she asks me a few questions, and then she'll give me the password for the test, and I take the test and then move on to the next module. So for each class, there's 2 segments, and segments are like a semester. So in each semester, there's something between 5 to 10 modules depending on the class, so that would equal a semester. Each module takes me about 3 weeks to 1 week, just depending on the module and the class and how long it is. Each module has like 9, 11-ish lessons, and you have to do 4 lessons a week per class. And with each lesson, you learn something, and then you do some kind of worksheet or assignment on it. And there is projects and slideshows and essays and all that stuff. So yeah, that's basically how my school works. Somebody asked me in the comments, do I miss going to high school? And I can completely say no, I do not miss going to high school. I talked about this a little bit in my other video on the one I mentioned earlier, that's in the description, but no. Once I left that school, I realized how much I hated it there and how much I hated the environment. And I'm just so much more happier when I'm not surrounded by all that negative energy all the time. And as far as missing my friends, the only friend I really had was Landon. And of course I miss him, but as far as high school and missing all my high school friends, I do not have any to miss, so. And all in all, I'm not a super social person. I'm very introverted, and I'm fine just staying in bed all day and hanging out with this one. I could go like a week without any real social interaction, and I'd be fine. There's such a stigma about homeschooling students. Somebody commented, they said, you don't seem like the type of person to get pregnant because you're homeschooled. And all types of people homeschool. It's not a type. There's different situations and reasons people homeschool, and homeschooling was just the best option for me to be with my daughter. Sorry, I had to put her down, but as I was saying, a lot of people ask if my siblings are homeschooled, and the answer to that is no. I don't think my mom would be able to keep up with everyone's homeschooling if they all were homeschooled. Plus, they all enjoy their schools and going to school, and I don't see why they would. Again, everybody's different. I really enjoy it, and I don't think they would. A lot of people also ask if I'm going to be homeschooling my children, and I don't think so as far as right now. If they tell me, Mom, I want to be homeschooled, I would totally allow them to. I would be all on it. But it's really their choice. As far as enrolling into kindergarten, I think I would enroll them into normal school, and if they are having issues and they decide they don't like it, then I would highly consider homeschooling. I'm not against it whatsoever. Another question I get a lot is if Landon is homeschooled, and no, he goes to the same school I used to go to before I moved. He is looking into doing homeschooling though for his senior year, so that way he can come down and visit us without missing a ton of school. And if he was homeschooled, he can move here the second he turns 18, which is in February, rather than waiting until the end of the school year, which is obviously in June. Another question I get a lot is when do I start homeschooling as far as my day? And It's really up to you whenever you want to start it. For me, I start it later at nighttime, as you guys probably saw in my daily life video. I'll link that in the description too if you want to see that. But yeah, I start my schooling later in the day, but literally my school is open 24/7. Anytime I want to complete schoolwork, I can just log on and do it. I just have to have 4 assignments per class done by the end of the week. So however I want to do that, I can do that in the weekends, in the middle of the night, whenever. If you're thinking about doing homeschooling, I say go for it. I don't regret it, especially if you are a pregnant teen thinking about how am I going to do this, how am I going to finish high school and raise a baby. I highly would recommend homeschooling. A lot of pregnant teenagers do it, and it is a great option. I wouldn't have it any other way. If I could choose to go back to high school, I wouldn't, even if I didn't have Collette. I hope I answered all of your questions. You guys have some great video ideas, so keep leaving those in the comments if you have any. Anyways guys, as always, my Instagram and Snapchat are linked in the description, and thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.